Hi guys, I'm Wes with D6 Evolution, and today I am so excited to talk about the Harlequins rules that have been released in White Dwarf 545. And if you are a Harlequins player, you must buy these rules. Not only are they probably some of the best rules that have been released in 8th edition, they're narrative and competitive. Let's take a look. While from the outset this may just be a few pages in White Dwarf, these new rules really crank up the power level of the Harlequins. There are three main components. You have the pivotal roles, which is essentially three special rules that you can choose for each of the characters in the Harlequins army. So the Troop Master, the Shadowseer, the Death Jester and the Solitaire can all have additional rules or replacement of some of their key rules. You're also going to find 9 stratagems that really change the dynamic of the army and really exemplify some of the tricksiness of the Harlequins. And finally, there are 6 more relics for you to get your teeth into, and these are fantastic. I've gone through all of these rules and we're going to cover in a little bit more detail, but I can't find a bad one amongst them. From a narrative and competitive standpoint, let's break them down further. So the first thing we're going to look at is pivotal roles. This is a new rule that changes the dynamic of all of your characters inside your Harlequin army. It can replace either the Choreographer of War for the Troop Master, the Shield from Harm with the Shadowseer, Death is Not Enough from the Death Jester, or the Blitz from the Solitaire. These are already great rules, and now the pivotal roles are just going to make them so much better. So first off, let's look at the Troop Master. The Choreographer of War allowed you to reroll wound rolls of all units within, I think, 6 inches of the Troop Master. I have 3 of these to choose from, and they're all great. So let's look at the first, which is the Prince of Light. It allows you to reroll charges within 6 inches of this Troop Master. And if you already have a mechanic that allows you to reroll charge rolls, you just get a straight up +1 to your charge bonus instead. Fantastic for making sure that you make your charges with the Harlequins. The next one is Darkness Bite, which is straight up 2 mortal wounds on a unit that has been attacked by that Troop Master. What? 3 mortal wounds? Fantastic. And the final one is Twilight's Grasp, which means that the Troop Master will wound on a 2+ against all units except monsters. That is amazing. I don't know what more to say about that. And we'll look at the combos in the next videos, what you can do with this. With pivotal roles, a Shadowseer can exchange its Shield from Harm ability for the Veil of Illusions. And what this means is enemy units targeting a friendly unit within 6 inches of the Shadowseer must add 6 inches to the range of their attacks. Lots of 6s there, but essentially what this means, if you have a Shadowseer and you have a troop next to it, if the enemy target that troop and it's 24 inches away, they then have to add 6 inches onto it. That then becomes a 30-inch shot, which may put them out of range or may take them out of double tap range. Sneaky tricks like this used to be on the Venoms of the Dark Elder back in the day. And it's really tricksy and really messes with opponents' heads when they're trying to figure out what things they're going to attack next. So I really like this one. The next one we have is the Gloomwake, which essentially means that any mask unit within 6 inches of the Shadowseer gains the benefit of cover. With Harlequins having a 4+ invuln, you may think, what's the benefit of that? But actually, troop transports and the vehicles and the Skyweavers actually have a 4+ armor save, which means they'll get a 3+ save when they're within 6 inches of the Shadowseer, which is a nice bonus. The final one we have to look at is the Agents of Bedlam, which means that any enemy units within 6 inches of the Shadowseer receive a -1 to their attacks characteristic to a minimum of 1. So there we have it. There's the 3 bonuses you get for the Shadowseer. All of them really nice, and we'll see how things stack up a little bit later. Oh man, Death Jester is probably one of the coolest models in 40k, and now it's got some of the coolest rules. It gets to exchange its Death is Not Enough for the Harvester of Torment. So what that means is when it's targeting a unit with 6 or more models in it, every shot that hits, rather than counting as 1 shot, it counts as 3. Now bearing in mind, if you have a shuriken cannon, that's 3 shots base, hitting on 2, so those 3 shots can easily become 9 shots that are going to hit that target. Great for clearing out chaff units, really. The next option you can choose is Jest Inescapable. This adds 12 inches to the range, so you've now got a 36-inch weapon. And anytime you roll a 6 to wound, it causes an additional mortal wound. Now bearing in mind, when you're rolling a 6 to wound anyway, you can be a -3. The chances are Anytime you're rolling 6, you're going to be doing 2 wounds. That's a nice buff. But I think my favourite one is Humbling Cruelty, and thematically I just love this one. Essentially, if a target unit is hit, it becomes pinned. What does pinned mean? It's an old term from 40k, but in this, what it means is that target unit reduces its movement by -2, and it cannot overwatch. And the reason why I love this is because the Harlequin strengthens its movement and its combat. And what this rule does is it reduces the enemy's movement, which is a kind of plus to your movement, and it makes you more likely to get into combat and avoiding overwatch. I love this one, and I think I'm going to be taking this one quite regularly. So the final person to benefit from the pivotal roles is the Solitaire. The Solitaire already had a great rule in the Blitz. However, arguably these could be just a little bit better than that. The first one is Shocking Emergence, which means that he gets to, during deployment, essentially go into reserve and appear at the end of a movement phase 9 inches away from the enemy. Not only that, when he then subsequently comes to charge, he gets to roll 3d6 and then discard one of those dice. This may work really well with the hero's path, and you need to just clarify that, but this guy moving around the table, getting 3 dice of the charge and picking the highest 2 means he's pretty much going to be able to charge any unit in the game at that point. The next ability you can choose is Chromatic Rush, which means he automatically advances 6 inches and he gets to consolidate an extra 3 inches. So that means he's going to, as standard, get to consolidate 6 inches. Now, however, if he's Midnight Sorrow, that means he's going to consolidate up to 9 inches. This guy is going to be bouncing around the table like a crazy nut. Watch out for this guy. I think there's some tricks in this one. Andy will probably like this. The final one is the Unnatural Acrobats, which means that he's going to suffer a -1 to hit when enemy are shooting or target him in the combat phase. This ties up really nice with lightning fast reflexes and the Suit of Hidden Knives, which means that you could be dishing out extra mortal wounds in combat there as well. This is a great little combo potentially. Harlequins benefit from 9 extra strats, which are all fantastic in this new supplement. So, who thought the pivotal role was a great rule? What about if I told you you could stack them on top of each other? For 1 command point, the pivotal role stratagem allows you to take an additional pivotal role on top of the role that you've already got. I can't even fathom all the possibilities that this stratagem brings to the game right now. It's fantastic. You can make a really flavourful and powerful character out of this pivotal role rule and the stratagem that goes with it. I'm really looking forward to trying this one. Polychromatic Storm is 2 CPs, and essentially what this allows you to do is redeploy 3 units at the start of the game. Very similar to other Eldari traits and 100 Swords of Val. This is always great. So if you found that you've mispositioned yourself from when the enemy have done their deployment, or if you're a canny general, you've laid some bait and then you can redeploy 3 units or up to 4 units if you do the 100 Swords of Val on top of this from your army to a different position on the board, will really unfoot your enemy. Murderous Entrance is at 2 command points, and this is a +1 damage to your melee weapons if the unit's charged. Fantastic. There's lots of 1 damage and multiple damage weapons with the Harlequins, so that's really ups their game. So you can have Embraces, etc. doing 2 damage, really going to get rid of Primaris Marines with these things. The Curtain Falls. I love this one. That's 2 command points. Rather than consolidating, it can fall back and move as per the movement phase. This is great. So your Harlequins can charge in, fight, and rather than do its consolidation into the enemy, it could just leave combat. And means the enemy can't then attack back. Really, really useful. Or if you're fighting in their phase, you can use this to springboard your Harlequins further up the table. I love it. It ties in really nicely with the next one as well, which is the Twisted Encore. It's 1 command point. And what it means is if the enemy leaves combat, so if it falls back, a Harlequin troop can then consolidate up to 6 inches towards that enemy or the nearest enemy unit. So if they try to leave you so you can get shot, actually you can catch up 6 inches and keep them in combat, or if they do leave, you can tag the next unit, which means that this troop unit is going to be kept locked in combat and safe from being shot off the board. I love it. Fantastic. So the next one is Foes of the Mind. It's 2 command points, and what it takes is the Shield from Harm ability, which is a -1 to wound for infantry models in the Harlequin army, and opens that up to any Harlequin unit. So bikes and vehicles are going to be -1 to wound when they're within 6 inches of shadows here. This is can be really, really powerful when you couple this with a -1 to hit anyway. I love this. And the next one we're going to look at is the Mythic Roll. This one's done pre-game, and it allows the Shadowseer to select an Eldari unit. So this doesn't have to necessarily be a Harlequin unit, any Eldari unit before the game. 1 CP, any time this unit fights or shoots, it can reroll either 1 hit or 1 wound. And the final one is one of my favourite ones, Virtuosos of the Webway. 1 command point. If you've got a Harlequin infantry unit, at the end of the movement phase, you can remove it from the board. It goes into ongoing reserve, and at the end of your next movement phase, you can redeploy that outside 9 inches from the enemy. This is fantastic. Not only is it thematic of Harlequins dancing in and out the webway, it's very tactically sound, and it's going to be a game changer in terms of redeploying to snatch objectives around the table, and I think you'll be seeing this one quite a bit. So there you have it. They're the stratagems. What do you guys think about those? So the final thing we're going to look at is Enigmas of the Black Library. The Harlequins get access to 6 more, and to say we're spoilt for choice is an absolute understatement. They are great. So let's look at the first. It's the Shadowstone, and it's only accessible to the Shadowseer. It adds 3 inches to all of its auras and abilities, and it's 3 inches to its psychic powers too. That's fantastic. This guy, most auras now going out to 9 inches. That's an 18-inch spread. That's going to cover a lot of the board. Awesome, really, really good. You'll see a lot of this. The next one is Segrak's Lament, and this is the Death Jester bonus, and I absolutely love this. They've done a fantastic job. So he gets to change his weapon to the Segrak's Lament. It has 2 different profiles, both a 36-inch range. The first is Assault 1, Strength 6, -3, and a flat 3 damage. The next profile is again 36-inch range, Assault 3, Strength 6, -3, 1 damage. And the great thing about this is that every model slain causes an additional D3 mortal wounds to that enemy target. And on top of that, when it comes to leadership, it suffers a -1. This is what Death Jesters really needed from the very beginning. Great work, Games Workshop. I love this one. The next thing is the Twilight Fang, and this is for the Troop Masters only. It allows him to replace his Harlequin's Blade or Power Sword. I probably wouldn't pay the upgrade to the Power Sword, to be honest, and just exchange a blade. It then becomes a melee weapon with 2+ strength, -3 AP, and a flat 3 damage. In addition to that, he gets extra attacks depending upon which battle round it is. So if it's battle round 5, he's going to get 5 extra attacks. So that's a Harlequin Troop Master in turn 5 with 10 attacks. Other bonuses of this, you can stack up multiple things probably, but just offhand here, when he's going to charge, you can make that damage 3 as well, which is fantastic by using the previous stratagem. I love this. Veil of Tears, naming going back to old Harlequin's book, I guess, but once per turn, the first time a saving roll has failed, you can just treat it as a success. So maybe if you've got this on a solitaire, you roll a 2, first time of that turn, you just go, I've passed that. That's pretty neat, right? So there you have it. That is the new rules for the Harlequins that are available as of 2020 Cycling Awakening, and I absolutely love them. It's been a long time since I've been so excited about a set of rules. At Games Workshop, well done. We absolutely love these rules. Let's see more like this. Not only are they narrative and fun, they're actually competitive at the same time, and I don't think there's a bad rule out there. So well done, Games Workshop, for this. Guys, what do you think? What are you looking forward to? What combinations can you see? We're doing a video in the next couple of days to add some of the layers to this, but there are so many combinations available here because everything is either really good or excellent in this release. So give us a few days to try and figure out what strengths in this, and let us know in the comments below of what combinations you found with these rules. We'll catch you next time.